Well, folks, the 9 in the Evening Kickstarter is in its final hours. Join me as I visit with Ryan Wieber, Jonathan Pruitt, Gina Miller, Aaron Warren, and my co-producer, Supora Carr, as we talk about the project, what happened, what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Recording in progress.
And it's being recorded, so it must be historic.
It's very historic what's happening, Ryan. Something you deal with every day. What are you up to over there, sir? What's a Ryan Wieber up to on a given Thursday in 2026?
Today I'm working out paying some estimated tax payments because I burned our taxes last year real bad. It's a tough time.
It's a wild time. You know, you're my fifth cast crew phone call, I think, fourth or fifth in the last couple of days. And
well, nice. Well, what's been the nature of these conversations? Because I mean, not to beat around the bush or anything, but I was just curious how you're feeling about how everything's going.
yeah, I'm feeling all sorts of things, Ryan. Fumbling in the dark like this.
And aren't we all? Because I'll be honest with you too. Like I don't follow enough, Kickstarter campaigns and things to actually have any real sense of like where successful ones end up happening. I assume it's totally erratic. Like I would imagine that it's not as simple as simply tracking along like, oh, I got some more this week and we got some more this week and we got some more that, and it's gonna reach 100% in the time allotted. I'm sure it doesn't work out that way. I'm just genuinely curious.
I wouldn't presume to be an expert on the subject. If I learned anything from this whole experience, it's the more time you spend with the back end of Kickstarter and their UI, it's not so simple to create the rather lavish campaign pages that you usually see on a Kickstarter. And in my verve to shoot this thing out of a cannon a month ago, which is exactly what happened, I created what I think probably everyone would agree is a rather sparse, conservatively put together campaign page that explains as much as I'm able to explain given where we're at and where I've set the ask. And this started off as an ambitious, flashy short that was going to be a chapter 1 situation and that we were just going to get something kind of going. And within days of even talking about launching it, it kind of snapped in that no, we're going to make a sequel. It's going to be ambitious. My first urge was to close this ticket out. I've softened on that over the last couple of weeks because the channel has really grown. And I think the feedback really kind of, for me, hits as folks who really want to see me and Pruitt and Corey swing a lightsaber again, and folks who just really see this whole circumstance as something inspirational and institutional to their early internet experience. This is something that we're going to continue to explore inside and outside of a Kickstarter campaign. This is obviously what my channel is about, is figuring out what this is and how to make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I told you in that first phone call, like I appreciate the exploratory spirit of it. And I don't know how often that happens. Again, I'm out of touch with how these things normally go. But, it's interesting because I would think a lot of people on both sides are probably like, okay, this needs to be as built out as possible to understand it the best, to have a grip on what it's really going to cost and entail, and assure you that I know what I'm doing and I can handle that and all blah, 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 blah. And so, but it's very interesting also to just be kind of like, come with me and let's find out what this is together, and to be dynamic to what you get and what you can work with, which is sort of emergent as you're running around waving your arms going, hey, let's try to do this here, everybody. Let's talk seriously about it, So there's something interesting about wanting to throw in with you without actually knowing exactly what it's going to be. That's interesting to me, I'm not saying that will get you more people. I don't know if that's financially more successful or viable, but I like the part where it's creatively sort of malleable. That's interesting to me anyway.
Well, it's interesting to me too. And I'm not afraid to fail in public. I'm not afraid to try. And I'm not afraid to engage the audience in a different way than I have before. What I really owe to this and to its audience is to be present and available. And when I started doing that, when we launched this Kickstarter, if anything, I made too many videos over a 2-week period, and the algorithm started to get mad at me, and they started to look samey. And so I backed off and realized that I had built a sales funnel, and I went off and launched a podcast. Well, in the meantime, Ryan, 3 and 6 on a given day get double-digit traffic on the daily. That's not nothing, right? It's something people come back to. It's something that well into the rest of my life and long after I'm gone will it probably continue to generate traffic. Like Ryan versus Dorkman 2, it's foundational early internet. I'm a little further out from the white-hot nucleus of that than Ryan versus Dorkman 2, but all of this stuff that has an audience has an opportunity, I think, to figure out what you could still do if people still want to do it. And that's what these phone calls about, are talking to folks like you about whether you feel like rotoing a lightsaber in 2027.
I feel like at this point, the rotoing the lightsaber isn't the hard part anymore. Once upon a time, it was. Like, hey, man, that's the thing no one can handle. When we're all running around with our mini DV cameras and everything. But like, now it's like we're all just like, we're gonna need like a 1-ton grip truck at least for this. It's like, you get it shot, I'll put some sabers on there for you. I think that's been our quiet understanding all along. And that's where I remain personally. So I'm more just sort of captivated and fascinated by the creative process of if it is to come into being. And I will also say like that I don't think it's a failure to say, you know what, this was the honest, earnest try.
Hello.
My man.
How's it going, man?
Going pretty good. How are you?
I'm okay. I had my 2-week follow-up today from my hernia surgery. Everything's okay.
Just got off the phone moments ago with Ryan Wieber, and he asked about where your health is at. I did my best to paraphrase, but what exactly has happened?
I mean, obviously I had prostate cancer. Yay. Beat that. The main incision where they yeeted it out never completely closed. Apparently. I'm pretty sure it happened the night of the surgery, because the first time they tried to get me up, I just folded like a ton of bricks. Like, it just complete syncope out. One of the first times I've ever experienced that. It was very interesting.
You passed out?
I straight up passed. Yeah, just complete drop. It's just syncope. Your blood pressure drops.
Oh, okay.
So nothing goes to your head for a split second and your brain just goes, ugh. So I'm pretty sure that's when it happened. Did I say folded like a ton of bricks? Man, I mixed metaphors. That just hit me.
It works.
Yeah, folded like an accordion. That's what I meant. But
like
anyway,
chair,
you know what I mean.
Maybe.
No, fold, yeah. Dude, I literally was just in half, just folded. My main incision is like right here. I basically, if you go down on your knees, and then I slumped down to my left, so my ribs were literally just poking right into that, and I'm pretty sure that's when it happened. It's basically made my recovery just not possible completely, because every time I try to work out, it felt like somebody was stabbing me in the stomach. Luckily, in the surgery, they didn't have to open me up over the main incision. I now have 3 new holes in my stomach. Over here, where they put the 3 in, came over here and put a mesh over it. So now I have like a mesh that my abs need to grow in and grow over. And so what I'm hoping is this is my superhero origin,
Right.
where I have one spot on my body that is bulletproof and like just everything proof. It's like Luke Cage with this mesh here, right? So my entire fighting style is just making sure whatever's going to hit me hits me in this one spot on my stomach. So think about the choreography of those fight scenes. Be insane. Anyway, so that's what I tell myself when it hurts.
My superpower is I'm invulnerable from here to here.
I have about a 2-inch square area on my stomach, upper left ab, where nothing can penetrate that. So my timeline, just so you know, for this, I'm not allowed to work out for another 6 weeks.
What do you want out of it? I mean, do you want a big action beat? What are some of the things that you would like to see out of it or do in it?
You know me, man. I would love to sling a lightsaber around one more time. I wouldn't say no to that. Okay, think about this. When you think about True Detective, think about the story and how it starts, what happens, people have falling out, they come back together to solve the big case.
Oh, okay. Yes. Sure. Yeah.
So if it's angled that way, where you just see me interrogated at the beginning, but nearer to the end, it's just like you do a text or a call or something.
Yeah.
And you don't know who it is, and I show up at the moment of whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
Yeah.
I would do it, sure.
It's Gina Miller.
How's it going?
You want to make a movie?
I think it would be so much fun.
You too. I think you would be so good at it.
Okay, and so it's so funny because like the girls that I work with, I was like, hey, y'all should watch this like video that I did when I was like really young, and they watched it and they were like, this is actually really good. And I was like, I know. They weren't expecting it, to be as good
Yeah.
as it is because of like the way you know, all of the way that the lightsabers and stuff are.
Well, people thinking that it's going to suck and then it turns out that it doesn't suck has been a constant for about 20 years of this thing.
Right.
New people discover it all the time. I think you're crucial to it. I think people would love to see you again. And I'm so grateful to you that you're down to make something else and explore it.
Okay, fun.
Cool. I keep watching the intro to Magnum PI because like just the feeling of it. I just like feeling the intro of Magnum PI. It just makes you feel like $1 million.
Yeah, it's very upbeat. It's there's a lot of eyebrow movement, Hey,
Got the eyebrows, cars, girls, you got your friends, that kind of feeling of slapping the clip in, that's what I really want out of particularly the third act, some sort of shocking revelation. It's about halfway through it because they've obviously completely figured out whatever the gambit was in 3 and 6 with these lightsabers, and they've got FOIA requests, and the actual like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of what the hell happened is going to be explained and unveiled. And that's going to send everybody into this thing. Well, the notion of you then showing up and Han Soloing the situation, right, and coming in and that would be a lot of fun, man. Good times.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to save the day, but I could at least be reinforcements,
There you go.
At the opportunity, I could be Theoden, on the hill. Ride with me! Death! Or whatever.
What would you like want out of it? Is there anything in particular that you like want to do or would like to see your character be doing?
I don't, because I was such a small part. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter to me. Like if I am evil or if I'm good or if I'm both,
Yeah.
I'll be the anti-hero or whatever, or not. I could be in it for 2 seconds. I don't care.
These lightsabers came to her house. She was on the list.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Like, yeah, that's true.
The room for your character to have as much of a personal stake in what happened 20 years ago as my character. Why were we on this list? And the bad guy in 6 has a line of dialogue where he says,
Young ladies across the street gave theirs right up.
he's lying. I don't think that your character would have just given hers right back. And I'm sure there was some whole thing that happened over there. I think it led to her being drawn up into whatever organization he was fronting that was sabotaging this release of these toys. Who does she work for and on behalf of and why? And she's just very intimidating.
Like Daryl Hannah's character on Kill Bill. Can I have an eye patch?
Yeah. Oh, I would love an eye patch, dude. And like a real like nasty operator who has her own agenda and has a more sophisticated characterization. That's what I want out of it, because you could get that across.
Yeah, I think so. I could do it. I'll practice in the mirror.
And
Who all's on board?
so everyone I've talked to is a yes, except Corey, who's a maybe.
Yeah.
Pruitt is a yes. I'm about to talk to Aaron Warren. My wife, Erin Irvin, obviously is going to come back. I'm going to try and track down Brandy Dykes.
Okay.
I think it would be cool to point the camera at some of these folks that may not be crucial to the plot. And maybe that's the point. For me, it's really about the passage of time and how we change over time and how our relationships change over time. And for me, the reason to do it is to see these faces come back and to make something together again that is interesting and thoughtful and exciting and funny.
You should let me and Pruitt have at least 1 minute of a one-on-one duel.
Well, that's okay.
We both still think we're in shape. Yeah. And actually, I probably would kick his ass in real life. I'm just kidding. Says the person that does not have the black belt, and
Right,
to the
black
person
belt.
that does.
Yes.
It was a lot of work, but it was worth it, whatever we got to do, moving stuff, transporting, getting stuff set up, I'm more than happy to help with that also, just like last time, I think it's fantastic.
I love it, brother. I appreciate you so much. It's great to see your face again and talk to you. Where are you at? Where are you physically in time and space?
I'm still up here, like 30 miles north of Tyler.
I think there's going to be shooting in Tyler because that's where Joe Terrell is, and that's where you are.
Joe's still over there in the same.
So Joe has my dad's old job there as news director at KLTV
Oh, okay.
still.
Right.
I've been trying to track him down. He was in Washington all last week. He's told me that he would love to do it, and I'd love to have him because kind of part of the idea is that we shoot this 60 minutes news piece, it has this big lore dump and brings everybody up to speed on this 20-year backstory of what happened in the story. But he's gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we need to, I mean, if you can't get a hold of him and, worse comes to worse, I mean, if somebody's got to stop by the station and summon him.
I'd say, brother, I may have to send you down there with a tire iron.
I mean, I got my ways, man. But
Hi, Supora Carr.
Hello, Travis Bowles. What is your middle name?
Brooks.
Brooks Bowles. I love it.
How do we know one another?
Well, 10 years ago, I applied to work at some fitness company called Six Pack Shortcuts, and I was interviewed and hired by Travis Bowles here. I worked there for less than a year, 8 months, and it was a wild ride. Six Pack Shortcuts was a boot camp into internet marketing, video marketing, being a marketing company, pretending to be a fitness company. I probably did like 300 projects in that short period of time.
That particular 2 years in the back of it where I was managing the department, the internet marketing engine there in Austin, Texas went into absolute super drive. I was kind of on my own planet because I was producing my YouTube channel, which brings us kind of to the moment we're in now, because I'm here to tell you that since we started this Kickstarter thing, you and I have learned more about YouTube in the last 4 weeks than I think I maybe ever have, certainly in such a short period of time. And working with you and having someone who believes in this and what we're doing, and that we enjoy one another, personally and professionally, that we enjoy each other's company, that's a rare thing. I've worked with a lot of people who I've worked with. I didn't enjoy working with every single one of them, and I'm not sure every single one of them enjoyed working with me. And so I've been a manager also for some years, so I've managed more than a handful of people in the pursuit and endeavor of creating video content whose purpose is to go on and be successful on the internet and elsewhere. And when you go through that, if you're having a good experience, you all come out with matching tattoos, and you're all blood brothers, right? You're all...
Which I will be holding you to. We will be getting matching tattoos.
Yeah, I gotta stop using the matching tattoos metaphor because you'll eventually make me get a
talk
tattoo.
you into it. I have learned so much Travis Bowles lore in the past couple months than I'd really heard this whole time that we had worked together on and off. It was so fascinating, and I became an instant fan of 3, 6, and now 9, because you were just like, hey, I did this thing 20 years ago, downplaying it. This man never talked about 9 in the evening, never talked about 3 and 6, not really to me or around me. And so when I found out about all of that, I was like, well, shit, I would do nothing but talk about that. But it's kind of under the impression that there's this kind of thing that you didn't necessarily feel like you had lived up to, and I totally disagreed. And you were like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this thing. Your agency does marketing, right? Would you market this Kickstarter? And I was like, I would love to. And it was so exciting to, well, firstly be asked, and secondly to get to do something cool, because since I hadn't done one before, you had to put some trust in me. And it's been a really good time. And then it's not super far into it, you asked me to be co-producer, and that was an honor. I immediately said yes. Well, I had to let you stop explaining why, you wouldn't be so awful to work with, and this wouldn't be this horrible thing, and that I could totally tell you to fuck off, and all the things that you say before I get to say, hell yeah, I'm gonna do this, because that's basically always my answer when you ask me if I want to do something. So I said, hell yes, I want to do this, and that's how I became co-producer. But also I had to get up to speed on the movies and the lore and what happened behind the scenes, and I watched the documentary, which made me tear up a little bit, and it was very sweet. And it's always really nice to work with you, because you are very professional and you're very good at what you do, very talented, and I believe in you, sir. I very much believe in you.
It really means a lot to me, Supora. I feel the same way about yourself. I'm being very careful and very precious with who I bring around this, and I think anybody who's watched that documentary would understand why and hopefully see where I'm coming from. And working with you on this has led to a deeper and more sophisticated understanding of what actually happened 20 years ago and what this actually is and why it's actually worth pursuing.
I'm curious to hear how it's gone with other folks you've been talking to.
It's been really fun. Aaron Warren is thrilled. Talked to Gina Miller. Both of us see the opportunity for her character, given the fact that Corey's a maybe and given Pruitt's health situation. I had lunch with him last summer when I was in town shooting a TV show, and then I talked to him a few weeks ago about this project, because I was going to go ahead and launch it and then start bringing the cast towards it, which I understand is not how everyone would do it, but that's how I'm doing it. Other than that lunch, Pruitt and I haven't spoken since WebDM concluded, which was in 2022. We worked together very closely on WebDM for many years and had a really great run and a close friendship. And so Pruitt's excited to be back. And I think as soon as I pitched to him that he would be interrogated by the police, and then he's like, well, I'd be like McConaughey in True Detective. And then he starts immediately, launching into why he thinks True Detective is the best television show ever made. Put a wig on, you put your hair out and grow your beard out, and you're like, you don't understand. It goes
Time
way
is a
deeper.
flat circle.
It goes way deeper than a glowing sword, you idiot. Don't you get it?
Well, that's cool. I mean, you got to be exploring the other angles like that, because it can't be what it was before. It's got to be something different, and not everyone's going to agree with what those choices are. But if it's to be made, someone will make them. And,
and honestly, as I have driven around for the last 2 weeks watching this thing cook and watching the reaction to it, is the idea I have something other people will help pay for. And if I don't know or say 100% of that idea, or even really 50% of that idea, because it's going to materialize. I've died so many rather proper ego deaths over the last few years that I'm not so precious with this that I wouldn't explore it in public. Who is mission critical to 9 in the evening? Well, me and you. Do Pruitt and Corey want to show up? One does and one might. Great. I can work with might. And that's what I told Corey. He told me maybe. I said, I'll take a maybe.
Yeah.
I thanked him for his time. I told him how good it was to see him, which it was my business partner. I was best man at the guy's wedding. He was my groomsman. If anything, Ryan, that's what our movie's about, is the passage of time and how people change. When I say to you, it's about 3 lightsabers at their doorstep. I've told this story many times. Most people look at me like I'm insane or stupid or whatever, but some of us really check in and get that. Well, it's because there's an alien on LV-426 and they find the egg and it gets on the ship, and you're gonna have to deal with that, right? And there wasn't a way to reason that away. They went down, they found the egg, they put it on the ship. She told them not to. They did it anyway. So what is the actual 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of your genre narrative? And if, like Twin Peaks: The Return, which is such a beautiful thing and such a beautiful blueprint, I think, for something like this, where it's no, let's have a big cast, really big as you can get it. Let's spend a little time with each of them and let's figure out how they all fit together, and they're all reacting to a single thing, which is this 60 Minutes piece that I've been watching in my head for 15 years, where these things came from and what their impact is on our society and culture and what their legacy is, and all this lore dump that I find hysterically funny, that I'm really trying to keep a secret from the audience, to my peril. And so as the characters are all watching this and reacting to it, and the third act for me, if I could wave a magic wand, when you were asked about a third Ryan versus Dorkman, when I think about the very foundations of fan film culture and then also genre film culture, how could we make something that is singular, shootable, crazy, over-the-top fun, and celebrates the kind of intentional action beats. When I go back and watch 6, I can't believe how good the fight is. That I think it's a big reason, obviously, why 2 has more views than 1 when you look at the fact that it was split in 2 parts.
It's almost like you cut it right at the for the fight.
Well, and it was because YouTube
to be where the middle is.
Well, YouTube wouldn't let me upload a video longer than whatever. And
it was 10 minutes, I think. Yeah.
It was 10 minutes. So working within our limitations, again, here 20 years later, what can we say about ourselves? What can we say about these characters? What is the weight of Corey's absence, and how can we work in a situation where we honor the fact that he's a maybe, but with Gina's enthusiasm for all of this, I think a lot of villainry and antagonist plot role to play in all of this that maybe a Corey would have played. I think it's a cool way to flip it 20 years later. Corey's checked out. Maybe we answer it, maybe we don't. We'll figure it out. I have a really good idea for what to do with Corey, but I don't want to spoil it on this call. Because if I only got him for like, not even a day, not even a half day, but let's say I'd be lucky to have him for an hour.
Sure.
Which is maybe where we're at with him. I think that's kind of badass. Like, how would I use that to make a critical link in the chain, given where the ask is? A $33,000 ask. I'm living in a world where Mark Duplass is on the red carpet of the back rooms telling everyone to go out and make a $10,000 movie. And okay, Mark, I'd be happy to, Mark, but I'm here to tell you, like, in this world where I'd like to have a bigger cast, and you've got this 20-year legacy, and the math I did going into this campaign, if that's where we're going to plant the flag, and if that was where the budget was, you maybe could have a senses-shattering showdown somewhere with a rather larger. I want foot soldiers, I want lasers, I want laser swords, and also I have Travis's weapon that he has on his hand, this device that he's put the power source of the saber he used to have, he's put it into this GNC bottle, because he doesn't wield a sword. It's like a Mega Man Buster Cannon or Hellboy's Hand of Doom. It occupies most of his arm from the elbow down. And it's a little heavier than it should be. And down here in his basement, he has been quietly following this entire thing while also being a vice principal at a Midwestern high school. And living this sort of shitty, cheap Bruce Wayne Batman lifestyle. And now this TV report is playing, and it's freaking everyone out. And that sounds like a lot of fun to me. And if I'm at a film festival and if I have no idea what this is or who you are or who I am, and I don't give a damn about a Star Wars or whatever, and if I can make an interesting, idiosyncratic, compelling movie within these parameters, that's what's materializing. And I'm having a really hard time saying what I just said to you on the internet in here with just this stuff. So
what is it about that, you think? Or is it just that, sometimes you keep hashing it out, and every time you do it, you get a little better at it. It's talking it out.
I've done it unscripted, I've done it scripted, I've shot big long videos that no one will ever see. I've done a lot of work that I go, that's an unhealthy rhythm to get in, because you're not going to finish anything. The output that I do have on the channel right now, I'm really rather pleased with. It's very succinct and conservative for the conversation you and I are having right now, which is, I could talk about this stuff for hours and hours. So how can I kind of point that into a camera lens? That's what I'm really kind of working out. And when I started the Newsman channel, you trip and fall into that part of the algorithm that's all these videos telling you how to have a successful YouTube channel. And every damn one of them is, what is the problem that your channel is solving? Solve that problem over and over and over and over again with every single one of your videos, and monetize that, whether it's cleaning a rug or going to Disneyland or whatever. And so if the problem in this channel is, where is 9 in the evening? And this content is about solving that problem, then what you, the audience member, are experiencing now is a filmmaker in a basement in his 40s figuring out what to do with that situation. That's for me what I would like to try to manifest out of this. And so I enjoy that process. I'm glad you're enthusiastic about it. This has been so much fun talking to you. We talked for an hour. I can't believe it.
It is such a tremendous relief to finally get this video out. I have been working on this video that you just watched for a week, and life just keeps happening and happening and happening. Whether anybody wants to make a movie, whether anybody wants to have a Kickstarter, whether anybody wants to get a video out the door, life goes on. And I just want each and every one of you to know how grateful I am for your time and your participation and your patronage and your attention and your viewership. I am so grateful that I have something that means this much to so many, from people who are close to me to people who I have not met and may never meet. To all of you out there who are a fan of this thing that we made together, thank you. Thank you for this. And I will see you a little further down the dusty trail. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss it. Happy trails to you until we meet again.